Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that, just kind of coming out of like the pandemic, what you've seen from the players mentally, physically, and then just kind of like the overall pandemic fatigue. I mean, I remember when I first was getting out there, man, like just for a walk, my legs were cramping up.
Yeah, well, let's do the pandemic fatigue for everybody first, because
Yeah.
let's go over that. So
Oh, even
first
coaches.
off,
Yeah.
let me go into the parents first with the pandemic. They're wilding, because people weren't out. They don't have a lot of stuff going on. Like, man, I'm seeing parents yelling at referees, yelling at coaches, switching their kids' teams even more than they were before. I mean, it happens, but it's like, now if I'm not getting my way, like, I'm just gonna take them somewhere else. Like, I saw a kid, well, not saw, I can't say saw, but I got a message from somebody like, man, this kid switched teams like mid-game, just took his stuff off and went and talked to another coach, and then was playing the next game with his other team. I'm like, and I've said it, and I wrote stuff like, parents, handlers, coaches, we're killing the game of basketball. We are killing it for our youth and for everything going on. And a lot of people blame like the kids for the way the game is. It's not the kids, it's the adults. We're the ones killing the game. Because I tell kids all the time, like, I don't think kids from like, whenever they start ranking kids up, I don't think they enjoy the game anymore, because it's just so much pressure. Like, I'm seeing 10, 11-year-olds having pressure like they're an NBA player, and like the game winner they miss depends on their mom or dad getting a check. And it's like, it's terrible,
Even
the
at
way
that
it is.
age,
You say what?
like parents are getting paid under the table for 11 and 12-year-olds.
No, I'm saying like they're acting like, okay,
I'm not gonna be able to provide.
yeah, like okay, we'll just put it like this, Jackie. Like,
Yeah.
Mark played in the league. Like, Mark got experience. Like, so Mark may see a 10-year-old at an AAU game and be like, man, wow, you're pretty good. And like, the parents take that as like, oh wow, ex-NBA player told my son he's good. We're gonna make the NBA. So now let me just, everything got to be serious. Like, we're gonna do 3 workouts a day. We're gonna lift weights. We're gonna, like, everything you do is like you're now on that course of being an NBA player. Man, that is so far from the truth, because I've seen dudes who were in my class who were like top 10 dudes, and we don't even hear from them no more. Like, they ain't even playing basketball because they got burnt out when they got to college. Like, it's like, and I don't even enjoy this sport no more. And basketball is supposed to be an enjoyable sport. Like, whatever goes on in between those lines goes on. When we get out, like, it's all love. Like, me and Mark might play against each other and talk so much noise to each other and like hate each other on the court, and people couldn't understand when we got off the court. We hug and talk and laughing. Like, people don't see that. And I think with the pandemic, what happened was because people didn't get out enough and get to play, and people being out, now it's pressure on everybody. Like, with the kids I'm seeing in these tournaments, like, they're pressing to make the next great play, so somebody will write about them or talk about them. And it's kind of taken away from the game because there's so much pressure on these kids because they weren't able to play for a year. And then you factor in, like, with the new rules with college and the transfer portals and everything. Like, I've talked to so many coaches who said they probably won't even look at a high school kid to like the 2025, 2026 class.
Oh, wow.
Because there are so many kids in the portal, and you can't blame them, because like, if it's my job and I got to win and I'm feeding my family, I got to get people who can come in right away and play. Like, I can't take a high school kid who I got to teach. And I can tell you this from experience with me. Like, my high school coach was a legend here in Georgia and was great, but we didn't get taught a lot of stuff and like how to talk. Like, let's ice this ball screen, or, like, let's do a curl or a fade. And when I got to college my freshman year, my coach was like, all right, we're going to run this drill. You got to curl this cone and do this and this. And I'm in the front of the line. I'm like, man, what in the world are you talking about? What is a curl? And he's like, you don't know what a curl is? Man, get to the back of the line. I'm like, so now I'm behind. So, they're going to, of course, recruit. So now all these high school kids who in this 2021 class, they don't have anything. No. Because JUCOs, the JUCOs waiting for a Division I dude who may go to a JUCO. The Division I coaches are waiting on a dude who may transfer or get a grad transfer. The D2s are waiting on a D1 guy who can't go somewhere. The NAI is waiting on a D2 guy, may go lower. And it's just like,
So you're saying now it's more of a business completely now? Because that when we was coming up, as little kids, we would play and it would be just fun. You just out there playing. So it really didn't become a business for me until I got to Temple, to be honest with you. I mean, McNair was serious basketball, at McNair because of Coach Grant, but it wasn't as much pressure as when I got to Temple. So now you're saying that AAU little kids is business from the time they get on the court. It's all business all the way up. So that's not good, man. It's just
because like Mark,
kind of sad.
Because people are looking for what is the best team I can play with to get my kid looked at, not what is the best overall goal for him. And like it's like with AAU, you got YBOA, you got a lot of stuff going on. And I don't fault any of this, but what I can say is now there's like, if I don't like what's going on with my son, I'm just gonna go ahead and create my own AAU team and we'll find some kids. So like now AAU, it's like in Georgia alone, man, I can't even count how many teams there are. You know what I'm saying? Like the same thing in Florida. Like, but Mark, when you and I were coming up, like I know for a fact, the 3 teams you wanted to play with when I was coming up was like Shamrock, the
Celtics.
Yep, the Celtics, and then with Law, play with Law, like Team Georgia. Like, and Burdette.
Those 2. Yeah.
And we would go to you would go to Burdette and it'd be like 400 people in there, man, trying out for like 2 teams at every age group. So it was you played with the best of the best, and it was 400 people who, and if they got cut, nobody went and found another AAU team to play with. Like they just figured out, hey, I got to get in the gym and get better to try and make that team next year. Now it's like, okay, I'm going to go to this tryout on Monday. I'm going to go to this tryout on Tuesday. I'm going to go to this tryout on Wednesday. I'm going to go to this tryout on Thursday. And all these teams may offer me, but I'm going to try and figure out what's the best thing that, like y'all can do for me.
You said it like as if it was college. And this is like, it's kind of opening up this whole other bubble about how the transfer portal is just bleeding down and affecting just recruiting in general. I didn't realize that there was that. It makes sense. It's that big of a backlog. And of course you take a stronger, more experienced guy because the learning curve is big in college. But what are some recommendations that you have for the parents out there that are that might be doing too much at once?
Man, listen, this is a recommendation. Let the coaches coach, let the referees referee. The best thing you can tell your kid is, I love watching you play.
Yeah.
When you get in the car, I love watching you play. And then maybe over the course of the week, you can give some recommendations, maybe some stuff they may have done wrong, but don't badger them because they've already heard it from their coach. They may have heard it from their teammates. They had a bad game. They got to get in the car with you. And now, you sucked, or you did this and this, and you didn't do this. And man, I'm pissed off at you. Like parents, nobody comes to y'all job if y'all have an off day and scream and yell at you. Nobody does it. So like the same thing you do when you go home and you decompress, let your kid decompress too. Because I see so many kids who aren't happy at basketball. And I ask a lot of kids a lot of times, and I got to step back for a minute because a lot of kids I train, I'm like, man, we start playing pickup or something. And I'm looking like, man, I don't know if they love the game. So I ask them, do you really love the game? You know what I mean by saying, do you love the game? Like you eat, sleep, bleed this basketball game. Like you have other stuff going on, but like, this is one of your focuses. And a lot of kids tell me, I don't know, coach. And like, if you don't know, this game started out as fun. And I eat, sleep, bleed basketball. I got a lot of stuff going on, but like when I was young, one of the things my dad always told, my dad was a great basketball player too. Like I can remember, I think my 7th grade year, we were playing an AAU game and I missed a layup and my coach took me out. And I had a bad attitude going towards the bench because I'm like, man, I missed a layup. I should have made it, but he took me out. Like, whatever. I'm not high-fiving my teammates. So I went and sat on the bench. So halftime comes, we're getting ready to walk back, outside to go talk. My dad runs across the floor and he grabs me. He says, listen, you're going to apologize to your teammates and your coach about your attitude, or we're going home right now. I was like, wow, okay. So I had to apologize to my coach for my attitude and my teammates, and it was better. Like, that was my dad. Now in this day and age, I'm not saying all parents, I'm just saying some parents. I don't know a lot of y'all who might be watching this, whatever. But if you do complain about it, you're a hit dog. So hit dogs do what? They holler. If your kid does that and maybe has attitude, a lot of parents now run off and be like, oh, the coach took you off missing the layup, take your jersey off. Like, we're not playing with him no more. He was wrong for doing that.
Yeah.
Like, he's coaching. And a
Yeah.
lot of these AAU coaches, you know, for you guys, a lot of them don't get paid anything, and they're doing it for the kindness of their heart because they love basketball. Now, some are trying to get to the next level, and some may be trying to use your kid to help them get a payday or to the next level. So you got to find the right organization. And what I mean by that is the right organization that's going to train your kid, that's going to teach your kid the game of basketball, that's going to have practices that are conducive to him playing or her playing at the next level. And what I mean by that is they're not just rolling the basketball out and y'all playing pickup. Mm-hmm. And like, you just run up and down the court, and they're not blowing the whistle and slowing down and teaching you nothing, because what's going to happen with that is you're going to think that's the way it is at every other level. So when you start getting stopped and taught at the high school or the college level, you're like, man, what in the world is going on? This ain't the way we played. So what am I learning? And I definitely give kudos to those AAU organizations that pick out weekends they're going to play, but they practice 2 or 3 times out of the week to really teach their kids.
Mm-hmm. How are these?
Did you find it? Go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, did you find that with Hoop Dreams, we kind of had to start over with the kids. It was when you guys started back up like full time. Did you feel like the kids were a little bit behind, or did you have kids that worked out? We had maybe 2 or 3 kids that came back. They were better from the pandemic, but most of the kids, you know, we literally had to start over, especially with the development. Did you have that? Did you see that in your case?
Yeah, I did. Not only that, but I also saw like the conditioning piece, but I had to remember that, man, kids ain't ran in a year. Like, they ain't been outside. They ain't been able to do anything. So I can't expect them to make a 18 in whatever many seconds I say to make it, because, man, them kids are out of breath. They're about to die. Yeah. So you had to like retool everything for a lot of the kids. And especially, you know, what I can say is, though, a lot of our kids still did their ball handling stuff. So it wasn't as hard with the ball handling. It was harder with like shooting, understanding like spacing in the game. Like, we had to reteach that, because, you know, that's hard to do for kids, especially when they're at home with their parents. Like, I can't know spacing, where to be. Like, if I don't have a goal, I can't shoot. So yeah, it was kind of tough.
Okay.
That was kind of along the lines that I was going to ask, but our parents, you know, back to the parents, and I want to talk about the kids too, but are the parents like in the gym during practice? Like, how much are they monitoring, maybe compared to the past where kids just kind of get dropped off, and it's really, you know, up to the coach to own that time?
I say it's 50-50. Like, 50% of the parents may stay, 50% leave. For various reasons. And I think in the beginning, a lot of the parents are dropping their kids off because they like, we want our time too. You know, like, let's get away, have a break. But then a lot of them will start coming back in the gym to like watch, see what's going on, see what their kids are learning. And I can say a lot of the parents in my situation have been like, Coach, thank you guys so much, because my kid has gotten so much better. You know, with being in the gym with you guys, and our numbers weren't like low. Like, we do all the protocol, everything like that. But I mean, like, once people start getting comfortable with it, more and more kids started coming, because the parents kind of figured out we need an outlet for our kids. But then I think because they haven't had outlet in these AAU tournaments, they're just like all over the referees and stuff. We're like, let them ref.
So, I mean, I'm sure, you know, not all teams, you know, I'm sure a lot of teams just hit the court and basically are like, go play, done. What are some like maybe smaller tangible goals that you communicate to the kids to just make them feel like they're making a little bit more progress, or are able, you know, do you kind of get what I'm saying? You know,
yeah.
Smaller things. How do you break it down for them to make sure that they understand that they are making progress, that it's not all going to come back at once, etc.?
Well, yeah, for sure. Like, what I always talk about, what I like to say to everybody is like, get 1% better. Something at something. Like, all right, Coach, I missed like 3 layups last week's game, but this game I made 2 of them. It's progress. Like, I made the right pass this game. It's progress.
Right.
And I was giving quotes to kids this week in our classes. I'm like, you know, there's no such thing as a loss. Like, you don't lose, you learn. So, you know, like somebody said a long time ago, like, hey, my basketball team never lost a game. Like, what? They never lost a game. We just ran out of time. Yeah. So it was a lesson learned. And like, the biggest thing for these kids is, man, y'all back playing basketball. You weren't doing this last summer. Mm-hmm. Like, so be happy with that. Like, enjoy the process, no matter what it is. And what's meant for you is meant for you. Like, a lot of people don't see that because everybody wants to go to the NBA. NBA might not have been meant for you. Overseas might have been meant for you. Like, being a sports agent might have been meant for you. Being a doctor, being a lawyer. Yeah. Like, so I try and teach life lessons through basketball. I don't try and teach basketball because, I mean, like, that's just a phase of you. And I'm so blessed right now to be still in this game and teaching this game and coaching this game. And, you know, because it's a game I love. Like, I could be being a trash man right now or something like that. But I think this was meant for me because of what all I put into basketball, and basketball poured back into me. Mm-hmm. So, like, for any kids, I'm telling you, like, enjoy the process. If you go to NAIA, go blow it up, because guess what? You might go D1 next year. Like, you never know. Like, Georgia's starting point guard just transferred to Kentucky. And everybody's like, wow, okay, so what's meant for you is meant for you. Anything can happen. And if you're good enough, they're going to find you. Trust me. Mm-hmm. Enjoy this game until you get to high school. Enjoy it. And then still enjoy it in high school. But it's not a business, like Mark said, until you get to college.
I can't even believe we're talking about high schoolers. I mean, you were talking about middle schoolers. That's nuts. Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah.
I just couldn't imagine with all of the media, though, you know.
And that's the problem.
The media can promote and will continue to talk about these players despite the diminishing availability that you were saying. So it's kind of like a feed, but they're not going to be taking. So it's almost a smoke and mirrors type of situation.
Yeah, and that's like
than before.
Yeah, and everybody now, you see it. Like, we didn't see it when we were coming up, but like, everybody wants to be on like somebody's highlight, or everybody's putting highlight tapes out, or like if somebody's filming on this court, I want to go play on that court. Like,
yeah.
If I'm not ranked, I don't like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, why like we're so searching for that. Like, I want my kid to be the number one ranked kid in this class. Okay, Lenny Cook was highly ranked. Where's Lenny Cook now? Lenny Cook was feared, was like a basketball god. Yeah. And no disrespect to Lenny Cook, because I thought Lenny Cook could hoop. But I think the thing that happened to Lenny Cook was it was so much pressure on him. Because if I didn't make it, I failed. If I didn't make it at basketball, you didn't fail, bro. Mm-hmm. You're still here. You didn't fail.
Yeah.
And he tells it in his story, but like, look at all the people who were hanging on to him as a 15, 14-year-old kid. Like, you got all these handlers because they want a payday off of you.
Yep. I mean, Mark, what do you got? You got anything?
No, I just wanted to commend Cam for coaching, because
Mark,
I think we take
Hold on, though, before we go to coaching, let's just talk about somebody real quick, though, Mark. Me and you talk about, and we're talking about failing, Jackie, right here.
Yeah.
Not failing, but pressure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a name, Mark, and I'm telling you, when I was coming up, I thought this dude was like, and he was, Octavius Thomas.
Octavius Thomas, wow.
One of the best guards, Jackie, I've ever watched in my life play the game of basketball. Mm-hmm. And like, everybody in the South knew who he was. Yeah. But everybody hung on to him.
Mm-hmm.
Too much pressure. He had pressure in high school though. Before he even got anything. Yeah, it was just too much. Think parents, coaches, community, guys in the street. I think he had all of that. Some people have parents to kind of keep the right people around him, but it was just too much pressure for him, man. That's what it was, because it was just like, he just blew up, you know what I mean? One day he just blew up and everybody knew who he was, and it kept going, and then everybody just kind of jumped on his back, and I think that pressure was too much for him. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but go ahead though, Mark, about the coaching. What you about to talk about?
No, I was just saying, I was just trying to commend you on the coaching. I really think that coaches are really not valued enough. People have to understand that you guys have jobs. You guys do not have, you're spending your time that you can spend with you got kids.
Mm-hmm.
You're spending time with other people's kids that you could be actually spending with your kid. And I think it took me a minute too to kind of get that perspective. Being a parent, having Markai play ball. But as time went on, I had to kind of understand and reevaluate my thinking, man. And it brought me to that point. Like, hey, this man is out here teaching your son when he has his own family he could be with. You know, he's putting in a lot of time and effort to get your son better in a sport. And so you at least have to respect that boundary. You know, like, okay, he's putting his time in, so I'm not going to disrespect him in any kind of way or make it more difficult than what it already is. I have to trust the process, trust that I put my son with the right person. And I just want to commend y'all for what y'all doing in Atlanta, man. As I went by that gym and it was unbelievable, man. When I dropped that stuff out, I was like, wow, like if I had this when I was coming up, man, I would be in here all day. Like I would have been there when that girl opened the door. I would have been right there. I would have been right there before her. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Because man, it's great. It's great for the city of Atlanta. It's great for basketball, what you guys are doing. And I hope you guys continue success. And hope that you continue. Hope we get the next big player out of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Hey, they're coming through there, man. We
Yeah,
got some stuff, and
I
I'm with you.
Yeah, you had like 10 cars come by drop offs when I was just dropping off that stuff. Like they just kept coming, dropping their kid off. So yeah, I commend you for that, man. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. We just trying to, make some ball players and teach some stuff and help out whoever we can.
Life skills. I think that's very important. That's the John Chaney way. Life skills, man. Life
Yeah, you
skills through
learn.
basketball.
Yeah, you learn from a great one, man. Definitely. People look to John Chaney and coaches like that, like John Thompson, like they were scared of him. But I remember as a seventh grader, man, I went up to Georgetown camp because my dad and Bob Wade were best friends, and I used to go to University of Maryland camp. And so Bob Wade told John Thompson, like, hey, I got the seventh grader coming up there. And of course, Bob Wade hyped me up. So the first day I got there, we're walking up, and it's so funny that Wade and Thompson are sitting there together. And Coach Thompson's like, oh, this is a young man you're talking about. Man, you're short. You're a small dude, man. He's like, but all the stuff I heard about you, I'm gonna put you in the varsity bracket. I'm like, Coach, I'm in seventh grade. He said, I don't care what grade you in. You're gonna play with the big boys. But he said, come on and walk with me. And I tell kids this story all the time. So I went to his office, and he had a basketball in there. And he was like, son, dribble this basketball. So I grabbed it and bounced it. It didn't come back up. It's a flat ball. Look at him like, man, what the world does this mean? He's like, son, I'm just telling you. You're all into the game of basketball, but that ball stops bouncing at some point in life. And it just made me like, wow, okay. I'm talking to this 6'10" dude who's coached all these guys I've seen. And I'm fearful of him because that's what they portray him as, like being a dictator or like screaming and yelling coach all the time. But so many people look at that or you see it on TV, parents and stuff like this, and you're scared of that. But off the court, you don't see what that coach does for your kid. Like people hated Bobby Knight, and Bobby Knight was an a-hole to the referees and in the gym. But he taught so many of them kids from Indiana so much stuff, like Chaney did for y'all, John Thompson, like all these great coaches, Dean Smith and everybody, like the stuff they did off the court. Like I'm training the kid who went to Carolina, Christian Keeling, and he talks more about Roy Williams off the court stuff than he ever talks about a game they may have lost to Duke or to Syracuse or anybody. He talks about the stuff Roy Williams did for him off the court.
Wow.
And that's the stuff we don't see or the stuff we don't talk about. Like these AAU coaches, they are helping your child. And they're also helping them grow. And however way they coach them, let them coach them that way because, now I'm not a fan of, like cursing the kid out all the time or like jumping in their face. There got to be an even balance of that. But like your kid is learning something from them. So any conversation you guys have at the dinner table about like your coach or whatever, the organization, that can affect a lot of stuff if it's negative at home.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I love watching you play. I love what your coach did. Like if you got anything as a parent you want to say to the coach, like pull him off to the side and don't tell your kid like, I'm going to talk to your coach today about your playing time. This ain't right. He need to be running these sets for you and all those. Don't do that. Just, hey, let me talk to him.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the biggest things with AAU is like, for me, everybody bouncing around with teams. Like everybody wants to be on the shoe team. Everybody wants to play EYBL. Everybody wants to play this. Everybody wants to play on the Adidas circuit. Like, dude, go somewhere and play where you're going to get minutes. I'd much rather go somewhere and play, because the same thing with like a mid-major college team or low major, and I don't even look at that. It's D1, D1.
Yeah.
They might not have the same budget, but it's D1, D1, okay?
Yeah.
If you can go to a lower AAU organization and they're playing in some of the right tournaments and play and be seen by coaches, I'd much rather do that than sit at the end of an EYBL bench with all this gear on. But you ain't getting none. So at the end of your summer, do you have any offers?
Exactly.
Now you're back to square one.